Hey, is there an echo in here? Hey guys, it's Phil from smilinggardener.com. If you haven't picked up my free online course, you can do that right on the homepage of smilinggardener.com. Today we're talking about worm bin composting. Maybe you don't have a place to have a big outdoor compost, but you still want to recycle those food scraps into something really nutritious. And that's where a worm bin comes in because it's really compact, you can do it right inside, and it makes really wonderful compost. So the first thing we're going to do here is to make a worm bin. Now you can buy them online already made, but I want to show you how to make one for much cheaper. The size really doesn't matter too much, but what I have here is probably 15 inches wide by 24 inches long by maybe 24 inches tall, something like that. Let's start with the bottom. Can you see the bottom holes? I have about 6 to 12 holes I usually drill in the bottom, and that allows for drainage so that the extra water can drain out. Then along the sides, I usually have 6 to 12 holes. And also, I'll show you these holes in the lid. That allows for just air movement because worms need to breathe air just like we do. You also need just to set the bin up a little bit so it's allowed to drain. So any kind of wood blocks, or if you want to do something fun, you find some little branches like that, and you set them down underneath the bin so it's sitting up. Other thing you need to do is have it drain into something. If you happen to have another lid, that's a perfect way to catch the liquid that's going to run out. Otherwise, any kind of a tray will work. The worms need a home, and since we're going to be adding a lot of nitrogen-rich food scraps, we need some carbon-rich bedding, as we call it. You can use some leaves for that, some straw for that, but what's commonly done is some newspaper. Another thing we can put in there, which is a very, very good idea, is some sand. Worms need sand in order to process their food. They just need a little bit of sand in there, or if you just have some soil that has a little bit of sand in it, that'll be fine too. You don't necessarily have to go out and buy sand. It's basically a lot like a compost pile where we want it to be moist like a wrung out sponge. A worm bin is even kept a little more moist. It wants to be nice and wet, but still you want the worms to be able to breathe air, so we don't want it to be too soaking wet. We get red wiggler worms, which tend to hang out sometimes in compost piles, especially in manure piles. Most of us, what we do is we go buy them, and they can be a little tricky to find in your local area. Sometimes you might have a local person who sells them, or sometimes you might find them at a farmer's market. But often you can go online, do a little bit of searching, and find them and have them shipped to you. Often what's recommended for a box this size is about a pound of worms. It's leaking, and it's being caught just like it's supposed to. I've gotten away with half a pound of worms before because they can be a little pricey, but really not too bad. So I had some worms shipped to me, and these people did a fantastic job shipping, so that the worms are in this really nice bedding already. Can you see any worms in there? In order to help them settle in, it can be handy to get a light and turn it on and kind of put it into your bin like that. Worms don't like light, so they're going to go down into the bin there and get really comfortable down in their bedding. After a few days, or maybe as long as a week, you can start feeding your worms once they're comfortable in there, and they'll eat pretty much any food scraps, but there are a few things that you shouldn't really feed them. You don't really want to feed them much in the way of meat, dairy, really oily foods, really salty foods, or really hot spicy foods, and that's about it. They don't love citrus, so not too much citrus, and also not too much in the allium family, like garlic and onions, but a little bit isn't a problem. Eggshells, no problem. Parsley, broccoli. I won't go for the citrus if I can help it. And then all kinds of other food scraps we have in here. Pepper, sweet potato, it's all good. So how do you do this? Well, you can use your hands, or sometimes after a while, especially once it gets going, it can be kind of handy to use a spatula to get in there. And when I start adding food, I'll take a corner, I'll bury the food in that corner, and I basically start kind of slow, 1 pound a week, then maybe 2 pounds a week, and then for a bin this size, maybe up to 4 or 5 pounds a week eventually, and I'll probably add it about twice a week. So I don't go adding it every day just because I don't want to disturb them more than I have to. So what I'll do is I'll add it into this corner and kind of bury it in there, and that helps stop the fruit flies from coming and just makes it better for them. It's kind of like when you're mixing up a compost pile, you want it to be mixed together. Then I'll go into this corner, then I'll keep kind of working along the bin every few days, putting more food scraps in. By the time I've finished over here and I come back to the beginning, these food scraps should be largely broken down, and then I can start again at the beginning. If you have any questions about worm bin composting, you can ask them down in here. If you haven't signed up for my free online organic gardening course, you could get it down in here. You can join me and my sister over on Facebook at facebook.com/smilinggardener.